Hello, welcome to Brazen. When I tell you that today's episode is so divinely orchestrated, so divinely timed, I still have goosebumps. Our guest, I'm sure, has goosebumps. We have the amazing Katie Henricks with us again today. You guys have heard her before on the podcast. She worked with me and Sam Altieri when we worked together in Women Rising, the event that I hosted last fall in 2023. And I asked her to come back on the podcast because, especially after we worked together in Women Rising, the experience that those women had when you came in, Katie, my goodness gracious. I still get reviews about it. I should fucking send you some, by the way, so you can have those. That's a must. Um, it is truly amazing what happened, and I was like, "I've gotta have this woman back on," and I was just telling Katie, who I'm gonna pass this over to here in a second, I was telling her how Trav and I were in Punta Cana this past week, and I was like, I was laying on the beach most of the time meditating. I'm like, "No, I fucking wasn't." There was days when I did shots, but when I wasn't doing a few shots here and there in Punta Cana, I was laying in meditation, and I have a practice of when I am ready to move into a new space and break through maybe a glass ceiling or a resistance or kind of a bleh type of moment, or even if I just fucking don't have the answer, because I'm human, I like to say out loud, "Hey, I'm open, willing, and ready." Or most of the time, it's I'm just fucking ready. I'm here. It's now, but you can take it deeper, open, willing, and ready to do this thing. And for me, it was to create even more bigness within the 5-week retreat that I'm hosting in March. And Katie's name immediately when I was like, well, what do I do? I'm open to receive it. How do I do this? Immediately it was like, Katie, Katie's the key. Katie's the missing piece here. She's the puzzle piece. So right before we press record, I propositioned you. I proposed to you. I was like, hey, would you like to come and join me for the 5-week retreat and just teach these women and kind of give even your business new birth and new light to it in a way that feels better and feels like the next level for you as well? And she was like, holy shit, Heather, I was just calling this into my life, and I just love that so much. So Katie, thank you for being here. How are you feeling now that we just had that whole experience before we even press record?
Like my body, I always check in with my body, like I think we've gotten so programmed to being like, I'm good, I feel good. And one of the best practices I ever learned was calling out sensations in the body because it really will tell you the truth,
Mhm.
right? It will tell you the truth, anything you're trying to like cover up. Okay, so here's like a practice right up front. Right now in my body, I'm feeling like chills on the backs of my arms. I feel like all this openness in my belly and in my pelvic floor, like this is opening, kind of like tingly, really just like I just got it again, like a wash of chills over my shoulders. So this is all like yay, 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 yes, yes, yes. Heart opening. I'm so happy to be here.
Oh, I love that. I think that's so important that you just explained that too, because it is listening to our body, listening to ourselves that is the step to trusting ourselves, which is usually where most of us get fucking caught. Is I
Yeah,
don't
we
know how to fucking trust
self-abandon.
myself. Huh?
Totally. We self-abandon right there.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So you guys already know she's brilliant. We said it before, but Katie, can you introduce yourself? Let them know who you are, where they can find you, what you do, and then let's get back into this conversation.
Yeah. This is always the awkward part. My name is Katie Henricks, and I'm a relationship and intimacy coach for women where we talk about relationships, body image, and sexuality. That can mean a lot of different things to a lot of different people. I almost exclusively work with women. And, I work with relationships of all kinds. And I think when I say relationship and intimacy coach, people think that I'm like a marriage and sex therapist.
Ah.
And I have certain goals, right, in the future, but um to me relationship and intimacy means learning how to love well or
Mhm.
learning how to love in your worth. And that means your friendships, your female friendships, your work life, with your kids, with your families. And we work a lot on communication, wholeness, self worth in my business. And so, don't let the term relationship and intimacy limit your the possibilities here because it really is like a full spectrum full life coaching
Yeah.
process. Um, and it's life changing. I'm very proud of the work that I do with women.
I love that. Um, can I explain to my community, the women that I'm usually speaking to, can I explain to them a way that I may have talked about your work before?
Please.
Okay, so ladies, you've heard me talk about this before, that your journey is a tree. It's a tree, and your trunk is your mindset work. That is just fucking getting on board with the thought process that what you want could happen. Like just taking that first fucking step. And there's so much within that, the mindset work, truly getting down to the creating new neurological pathways and doing reframing work. And then there's branches. And that doesn't mean you stop with the trunk, by the way. I straight up have to work through limiting beliefs every fucking day of my life. Like every day of my life. The work never ends. You just get better at the work, right?
Amen.
So when I spoke before you guys about how there's all these branches that come forward, some of these branches are like you get really deep into like Oracle and Tarot and you get into that. Some of them are you get really deep into reconnection to your body and maybe you do a lot of somatic work. Some of it, the big branches for me at least, are intimacy and really, really allowing myself to be intimate with myself, right? Here's my personal belief, and this is what I've said to my clients. That branch with intimacy with yourself and with your partner or whomever you choose, that branch is a bit bigger because if you don't have some substance, that shit's gonna fall. Like it took me through so much mindset work, through so much boundary work, and my clients as well, usually, to be able to even speak and open up our fucking throat chakra to be able to speak in the bedroom, right?
Ooh, oh,
And if
yes.
you're not able to tell your partner what you want, going back to what Katie just said, that's some self-abandoning shit right there. I know when I was doing it, it didn't feel good. I would be like, I want to tell him to go a little to the left, but I'm just going to pretend like it's fine. And not saying that that's all that intimacy is. Let's say when I used to roll on my side, I didn't love having this, like when I lay on my side, y'all know I've lost like 115 pounds at this point, and I'm up a little right now, to be honest. But when I roll over, I didn't really love having my stomach touch. It felt like it was looser skin. It didn't feel like my skin. I never spoke up about it. I would get uncomfortable and just kind of wiggle away from that intimacy instead of speaking and being open. And when I talk to you guys about this work and about how important it is to do all of these things to get more in touch with your body and really get your mind on board and to get to a place where you can feel comfortable with your voice, that's the work Katie does times a
Yeah.
million. Like there's so much you do. So I just wanted to make sure they heard that because we speak differently, but we do the same work and you go into intimacy in a way that I think is so fantastic. So thank you for the work that you do.
Thank you. I love that. We do the same work, but what'd you say? We talk about it differently. We teach it
Yeah.
differently. I was just talking to a client about this who follows someone that we both admire and love, who's a wonderful teacher. And she said, I told her, like the reason why people are drawn to one person or another in this work is that we're all kind of teaching the same fundamentals, but we
Yeah.
teach it through the lens of us, which is what
Mhm.
creates resonance,
Yeah.
right? That's what creates resonance is through the vessel that's teaching it. And I love that topic. I'm not going to get too deep into it right now, but that's
We
a
totally can.
beautiful way to talk about it. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. So we're going to be working together in the 5-week retreat in March now. And just a refresher for anyone who doesn't know, which I'm sure y'all do, but the 5-week virtual retreats that I host, they are mind, body, and soul. We touch on everything from reconnecting to your body to boundary work, which just a side note, boundary work with me includes boundaries with others, of course. But we start with boundaries with yourself because how are you going to say, don't be doing that shit around me when you're doing it? That's not going to work. We talk about boundaries with the voice of fear in your mind because like truly I believe that's the biggest boundary we all need to work on is how much are you believing that fucking voice? Like where's that boundary at? So the boundary work is huge in the mind, body, soul work that we do. We do a lot with healing our relationship with money in the spring retreats, which I love. Healing our relationship with money is one of the most important fucking aspects of life that I have found thus far. Once you do the big work, right? Well, I'm not saying it's better or bigger or anything than your shadow, your inner work. That's very important. But I'm saying after that step, get into that because money is how you create opportunities for yourself and others. More good-hearted, amazing, integrity-filled human beings need to be rich as fuck so we can change the world. So please
Yeah.
heal your relationship with money. And so all this incredible stuff, and it has an undertone of the feminine energy because we're blossoming in the spring. We're going to follow that natural pull. And Katie, what she's going to sprinkle on this, you guys, again, we're touching on all aspects of life. She is going to be sprinkling her genius in this. And she's not going to just be teaching it to you. She's going to be embodying it and showing you how to embody it and like telling you her story of like what happened when I did this and what happens when I like giving you her pro tips, we'll say. And I'm really stoked for it, Katie, because I know that whatever we co-create together alongside our other guest teacher, for now, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm open to anything, but right now there's at least one guest teacher as well that's other than Katie. But I'm really excited to be able to do this work with you. And I know that if it's even comparable at all to the experience that we created together within Women Rising, it's going to be miraculous. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be heart opening, mind opening. So tell me, like, what are your thoughts? How are you feeling? I know we talked about it before we started, but tell all the people listening.
Well, where do you want me to start? I think, yeah, I mean, there's so much that you just touched on that I feel like is, first of all, you're like, I want you to invite them into, um, your new offers. And I'm sitting here,
Yeah.
I was sitting here thinking a week ago, like, what are the things in the back of my heart, in the back of my mind that I have been wanting to pull forward that I haven't yet? And how am I going to create that? And I think that that's like really the thing that I feel like a lot of women, especially my clients,
Mm.
struggle with is how to create the thing that they want. Tell me, is this the spot? Is this where we're
Yeah.
headed? It's okay.
Yes.
Um, and because they'll initially come to me saying, I have this weird pattern in relationships that I
Mm.
do this weird thing, I do that weird thing, or my sex life sucks, or my relationship, I feel like there's something else there. And yes, all of that. And then I have to kind of like follow the thread down,
Mhm.
right? To like where the root of it actually is. Because it's
Yeah.
really not about the sex. It's not about that you're having riffs with your husband or your wife or whoever. It's something deep inside of us that feels unworthy or that feels scared. I'll also say that, like feels
Yeah.
scared and that hasn't touched in with um I'm gonna be like a little bit more like tender here is like our relationship with God or source or universe, call it what you want to, but really like this is a spiritual practice what we're doing. At
Yeah.
the end of the day, it really is. It's something that is deeply intimate with creation energy. And
Yeah.
so when women say like I want something different in my life, well, mama, that means you need to create it,
Yeah.
right? And feeling worthy of creating it. Look, there's a lot there. There's so much I don't know how to do still with my business and with my relationships, with relating. And this
Yeah.
is coming from a professional, a expert in this field, right? There's so
Right.
many things that I don't know that I have to face on a day-to-day basis. And I feel like that's what I also help women do is like learn how to step into how to create, what
Yeah.
to create, why to create, and
Mhm.
allow it to happen because it will happen. I don't know if that's where you're wanting me to go, but that's just what came through.
That's exactly what needed to come out. Yes. I'm so excited for you to teach that because like you were talking about the string.
Mm,
We can understand these concepts of our own evolution, whatever we want that to look like for ourselves, right? Maybe you want to fucking evolve your mind or your spiritual practices, or I'm in a deep like organizing of how I relate to my body physically. Like, however you do this, you have these general ideas, but to boil it down to what you really want then to be able to focus on that, you have to know the fucking daily habits that that's going to take. And it's so big to see this general thing, like whatever it is, like, so for me, I am right now currently, when it comes to my size, I am the biggest I have been in a very, very long time. But I'm also the most confident I've ever been, truly, in my entire fucking life.
Same.
Like, hands down. And now I am understanding how much of my weight personally was, for me, it's my stomach and my thighs, how much of my weight was connected to the fear of being seen, but I
Mm.
didn't find that out until I realized what I wanted, which was to blow my business up again, even bigger. And the first piece of resistance for me, the string was, bitch, you don't fit in your clothes anymore. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, that's it. That's it. That's what I want." And then, of course, I know exactly what I don't want. I don't want to keep feeling uncomfortable in my fucking body. I straight up told my fiance recently, I'm like, "I feel like I'm wearing like an extra skin or something. Like I don't feel comfortable." And I was like,
Ooh, you are
"Girl," I was like, "it's the
right.
daily motherfucking habits." I was like, "Look at your daily habits, Heather. What are your daily habits? How often are you on that fucking treadmill that you just knew was gonna be the answer?" Well, you did it for about 7 months, religiously, and then you were
Yeah.
like, "Whoopsie, fell off the wagon," and guess who hasn't gotten back on? Like,
Can we just talk about self-discipline for a hot second?
for real.
Okay, because I think, oh my God, I've been thinking about this so much. I'm so glad that you were talking about this. I feel like when we talk about feminine energy, and this is one thing that I really want to bring into my business in 2024, is like, it's not about being more feminine, it's about being more whole.
Yes.
You already are the feminine thing,
Right.
muse, inspiration, radiance, whatever. It's about creating wholeness. And women get so stuck in being feminine, they think it's all about like ease and flow and delight and joy and pleasure, right? And I'm like, also don't get too caught up in that, because that's how we end up in the toxicity of like the body positive movement, where it's
Mm.
like permission just to be like, to kind of collapse.
Yeah,
And
instead of
I'm not saying,
neutrality. Yeah.
yeah, yes, it's about neutrality. And with that is like, we have to have a balance of discipline of our daily habits in our mind, of what we allow ourselves to think, how we
Mm.
think about things, and also learn how to be in the truth of what's coming through in our bodies right
Yeah.
now. That's how you create wholeness
Mm.
without collapse,
Yes. I love that.
or like without becoming like mushy about it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, no
Yes.
one wants mush.
Mm. No, you don't. Well, for me, I have expectations in my life. Like to zoom out, like we were just talking about, like put it at a bigger level generically. Like we all have expectations that we set, right? Like you expect for there to be a certain amount of money in your bank account. You expect for certain clothes to fit. You expect for yourself to be able to write certain types of things, whether you are a writer, you're writing copy in this business, whatever. You have expectations. And my expectation for my body in the last few years, I kind of eased up, right? Like, kind of like in the realm of physical body, I was like, let's just back up a little bit. Let's just focus on releasing all the shit that you've carried since all the traumatic shit happened, right?
Yeah.
So I
Oh,
was
yeah.
like, we're not focused on anything. We're going to eat right. And then I started moving, and then I stopped moving because I started letting myself rest more and more and more and more. And I was resting to a point where I didn't feel rested. And then I was starting to feel like I was resting too much. So I had this guilt, and I was like, I'm supposed to be in flow. I'm supposed to be resting. And it took me years to learn how to rest. And now I
Mm,
feel like I'm being lazy. And I
mm.
knew the answer the whole time because I teach it, but as anybody that's in this business knows, it's a lot easier to witness someone else and lead them than it is to look in a mirror sometimes and be like, I fucking know that. I know. I literally told the client that shit yesterday, right?
Oh,
Like,
story of my life.
right.
Oh,
So I
yeah.
was sitting there and I was like, Heather, like you're sitting in this space And truly, the answer is, again, just zooming out and looking at be like, if you start taking these daily habits and looking at them, putting them into place, if you start seeing the end result you want instead of the stagnation that you're currently in, like all these steps, all these things we know, once I started to make that movement, that's when everything changed. Like I now am in a space, zooming back into my physical life, like we were talking about, like wherever your space is, ladies, like mental, maybe it's intimacy, whatever, business, personal, whatever space that you need to take a look at, like Katie and I are talking about this, be a fucking human about it. Like give yourself the compassion and the grace and the patience because sometimes like we're saying like you're in this space and you're like I know the answer but I'm not doing the thing I know I need to do. Like I know I needed to get on the fucking treadmill or go get some sun on my face. But I was like, no, I need to rest. I need to do this. Bitch, no, you don't. You've rested long enough and now you're just using it as a way to stay in bed.
Oh, you're like speaking my language right now. And I also think like a bigger, even the bigger thing is if you actually can develop that level of self-awareness that you're talking about, where you're aware of your own thoughts, and you start to see like, okay, I was here, now I'm here, now I'm having these thoughts. What am I going to do next? Da, 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 da. If you are able to zoom out, you'll start to see how you relate to yourself in all of these different spots in your life.
Yeah.
And then, so the bigger thing is like your relationship with yourself in each area, like that connection point when I'm heavy, the connection point when I'm overly like resting too much, my
Yeah.
self-talk, what I know I need to do, how do I use my skills to move into a new spot? Like the bigger picture here is really your relationship with yourself in all these
Yeah.
different areas.
I
So good.
love that. I love that you just because you just pinpointed your work. Like you were talking about the string, that's that head of that string.
That's right.
And so I love that you just gave like you guys just got free coaching from Katie, just so you know. Like you just like there's people listening all over the world right now that are like, "Oh, fuck." That's it. So I just want to say thank you because I'm a big believer that when we open our hearts and our minds up to the people we're meant to work with, for us, the women we're meant to work with, because that's where we specialize. When we open our minds and hearts to it and we give out that information that someone was needing, somebody's about to come to you and be like, KT, you said what I needed and now I am here. You're like, it's just, it comes down to when you are ready for the thing, it shows up.
The teacher will appear. That's right.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm.
That's right. Someone, this also kind of relates back to, I was having a coaching session with one of my year-long clients. I have a year-long metamorphosis that I do with
Yeah.
several clients who are really deeply committed to change. And one of my year clients right now, who I absolutely adore, you're going to know who you are if you listen to this. Um, she said the most amazing thing that kind of like opened up this whole world for us. And she said, I feel like I can be myself with myself, but I feel like when we were talking about authenticity, which I know you're big on, right?
Yeah.
Um, she said, I feel like I can be myself with myself, but when it comes to my kids, my husband, my work, my coworkers, my family, I feel like I'm not really myself.
Mhm.
And and I said, no, 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 no. I said, that is an illusion.
Mm.
You are who you are in the face of other people and in the
Yeah.
face of, more importantly, relating back to what you were talking about, you are who you are in the face of your relationship to all of these issues that we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? And how you stay with yourself. Because it's really easy to isolate and go, oh, I am who I say I am, and you believe the
Yep.
delusional, right?
Yeah.
But what relationships and our relationship with ourselves and our relationship to our work and our relationship with women and to money and to food and to sex and to love and all these things is actually who we are.
Mhm.
And that isn't so pretty all the time.
Dude, when you start looking, because it's like we just said, it comes down to your habits. Who you are your habits. Like the story you tell
Definitely.
yourself is probably pretty true, but it comes down to your habits. Like that's who you are, the way
Yeah.
you behave. And dude, there were some, oh my gosh, there were some times I remember specifically about 2.5 years ago, there was a few things that I looked at habit wise. Not that there's not still some now, you guys. Like, please
Oh, yeah.
believe that my ass is not even close to perfect.
Oh, just
Um,
because we teach it doesn't mean we're not working this stuff every damn day.
every day. Like we said,
Oh,
the work doesn't end. You just get much better at the work.
true.
But like 2.5 years ago, I was looking at a few habits in mine, and it will never cease to amaze me how we always hold the answers within ourselves, but they only can appear and we can only see them when we're truly fucking ready to soak it up and swallow that pride and that ego. Because I was a bitchin' about how my life was not what I like. I was legit. Anybody who would listen, I was bitching about it. I was like, fucking, this will not work, and blah. And I mean, it was only like three people, but still, those three people, they were like, okay, okay. Cause I still pull with my friends, with my loved ones. I'm like, do you have time just to hear me, bitch? Can I just vent? And they're like, yeah, bitch, you got 5 minutes, go. Like, so like we have good relationships with venting. But when I was done each time, they were like, you see that, right? You see the thing. And I'm like, no, I don't fucking see it. I must be blind. And they're like, okay, I'll catch you next time. Love you. Right. And then it didn't take long. I'm like, I'm not happy because my habits aren't making me happy. I'm not happy because how I act every single day, my identity, who I am, who I be, how I behave is not fully aligned mind, body, and soul with where I am heading.
Yeah.
And it's my habits. And they weren't huge at that time. Like looking back now, they were some of the biggest, like monumental, pivotal changes in my life. But they weren't at that time. They didn't seem big. It was just like, oh, this is kind of a pain in the dick to change this behavior or the way I view
Oh,
this or whatever. But
oh
if
yeah.
I wouldn't have done that shit, there's no way I'd be where I am right now.
Yeah.
And so,
You almost have to tell yourself, like, I am better than this. I'm
yes,
better than whatever this low grade bullshit is that I have been placating, soothing myself with, believing in. I am not meant to like lay in bed 8 hours a day. What the fuck is happening? This is not rest. This is avoidance. What the fuck? I'll never forget.
yes,
I'll never
avoidance.
forget. It totally is. I'll never forget this moment. And when I was doing my coaching program, I was watching one of my favorite coaches kind of he was doing a coaching circle, and this woman, this beautiful woman who I love and admire, is sitting there, and she's gorgeous, and she is like radiating, and she's like this like tall drink of water kind of woman. And she was like, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with myself. Like, I kind of just, and he was like, oh, that's funny. Like, the most powerful woman in the room is like, I don't know. And she was like, ha ha ha. Like, we all kind of laughed because it was so comical that
Yeah,
someone so powerful was selling themselves short or questioning or like wondering what to do next. Bitch,
yeah,
anything than what you're sabotaging yourself with now.
yes, yes.
Right? Like, you are a powerful fucking force. Stop believing. And I'm kind of talking to myself right now because I was a little bit of a victim the other day. I'm not gonna lie. It took me about 3 days to get out of it. Is like, what the fuck am I doing? I
Mm-hmm.
am a powerful woman. You are better than whatever it is that you were stuck in. Now
Yeah, man.
get moving, get to work
Right.
with your women and do your thing.
Yeah, dude. It's it
Ugh.
it's the tools that we know are there, but we put on a shelf because we're like, I don't need these right now. But the thing is that I think we don't give ourselves enough credit, especially as women, and at an even deeper level here, women who have truly created a really good relationship with the cycles of life that they go through.
Yeah.
We forget as women that when we put shit on a shelf, we're gonna come back to it. And so like we get down on ourselves. We're like, I'm gonna put this on the shelf because like, I don't know, we almost like pretend like I don't need it anymore. And like we put it on a shelf, but it's like, bitch, it's just because it's not the season anymore. Like you're gonna come back around to that.
Oh my God, I love that. And this is exactly what you're talking about with your retreat is like
Yes.
working seasonally.
Mm-hmm.
I was just listening to a woman say something about like if she was working with menstrual cycles.
Yeah.
She's like, you know, when you're in your menstruation phase or your luteal phase, you almost forget that you're going to ovulate again and you're going to feel like it feels like you're going to be in luteal or menstruation forever.
I'm
And
gonna
then
be a troll forever.
I know. And then you hit like follicular and ovulation and you're like, oh, like it feels like. And she's like, no, 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 it's coming back around, right?
Mhm.
And it may be time for you to grab that thing off the shelf, the skill, the passion, the desire,
Yes.
the power outlet, whatever it is that you're needing, time to grab it again, plug the
Yep.
phone back in. And you know, I also have to say this connection to women.
Huge.
Can we, for a moment,
Mm.
will ground us and anchor us into who the fuck we are
Yeah, every time.
every
Every
single time.
every single time. Can I
That is
ask you a
my
personal
yeah,
question?
yeah.
How did that happen? Because I know what we talked about before we pressed record. How did that happen for you today, just to connect, like us two connecting today? Because I know on my end, I am anchored as fuck right now.
How did what happen? Can you be more specific?
How did you feel that movement when you and I got on this call today, even before we pressed record to start recording this podcast and we were talking? Like, how did the connection between you and I anchor you and remind you
Oh,
of who the fuck you are?
oh God. Well, you step into your power um with such a um what is the vibe like vibrating like when
Oh,
you step into your power, people around you fucking feel that.
babes. Yeah, I like how you put this.
And first of all, you came out of the gate with a proposition for me to join you, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was really interesting how you started with the rigor and the standard and the tight ship, to use your
Yeah.
word. And I think that that's beautiful because it's like you know who you are, and when you know who you are, that gives me permission to know who I am and to
Mhm.
be strong and bold and courageous and brave, which is really what you embody so much, right? Like, yeah, for
Thanks,
sure.
babe.
So, yeah. And I think when when you're holding back a little, you can
Yeah.
feel that from someone else, then you don't want to pour in everything.
Yeah.
And so your permission to be fully yourself really is like, oh, fucking thank God. Woo, there it is. Like she is owning everything around her. She's owning her business, her money, her energy, where you are currently, even if that's not the most, ideal version,
Yeah.
talking about where you are with your body and your confidence and that duality. It's like that just grounds me. And can I say, like, also, you can edit this out, but it grounds me in my pussy.
Babes, yeah.
It does. Like, I'm like, like it just lands.
Mhm. Oh, okay. On my end, the way you show up and the way that you are so authentically, what's the word here? You authentically honor where the fuck you are, how you feel, where you've been, where you're going, and you take it and you put it out there and you say, here's this, and that's where I'm headed. And you are so open in a way, like just you were talking about. First of all, it's not fucking getting get edited out. Pussy, 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 pussy. We have pussies, we have titties, we have boobies. You can call them whatever the fuck you want. It'll never cease to amaze me when women are like, you have to call it by this name, or you have to never call it by that name. I'm like, bitch, it's mine. I'll call it a pussy if I want to.
Here's the thing, if you have a problem with the word pussy, calling yourself you call it, saying that you have a pussy or looking at your pussy,
Right.
we have some work to do.
Right. And usually the people that are saying that are people that don't have pussies. Let's be honest.
You'd be surprised. I've had many women in, not many, but I would say I have had a handful of women in some of my groups who are like, I don't like to call it that. I like to call it a yoni. And I'm like, mm. And believe me, I went through that phase too, where I was like, maybe this will be a more palatable version.
Yes. Yes.
Right? And because it holds, I don't know if you've read the book Pussy by Regina Thomashour, who's
I have
Mama
not,
Gina.
but I will.
Please do. And it's alchemy.
Yeah.
right? It's like not being able to say the word Trump or 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 Jesus or
Right.
whatever it is, right? That holds a lot of energy around it.
Yep.
No
Yeah.
matter which way you lean, it's like we have to learn to alchemize these things. And pussy is a really strong, very um layered and very what is the word? Um
Sacred.
what?
Sacred.
It's sacred, but it also has a lot of connotation to it.
That
Um
too. Yeah.
and
But I feel
history.
like, I mean, don't we come equipped with that? Like we come standard with that. We're
Yep.
like, here I am when I'm in my fullness, you're gonna look. Like you're gonna be intrigued. You're gonna feel my presence. And like it does, like you've taught alongside of me, and like you're talking about now, it really starts right down in there, babes. It starts down in your pussy. Like when you start walking with your hips, that's been something that actually my assistant April had me listen to a podcast, and it reawoke in that within, I had that reawaken. There we go. There's that sentence within myself when I listened to that podcast that she sent me. Thanks again, April. Love you. But the woman spoke about walking with your hips instead of with your shoulders. And that was something, again, a tool I put on a shelf that I fucking forgot about, brought it back down. And really, like all of these feelings, all of this confidence, all of that like energy when you walk into a room, and like I feel like it's that, I always think of like Marilyn Monroe when she used to talk about like turning it on. Like
Oh,
that's in your pussy, mama. Like
there.
it's in your heart too. It's in everywhere, but that's where it's at.
That's right. Yeah, and not owning that fully is like you're protecting the actually the most powerful energetic of who you are as a woman. You're
Yeah.
reserving it, you're pulling back, you're fearful. People can feel that. You're actually, you know, if we can talk about like oh, I love that you just talked about hips versus shoulders because
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the things that they teach in like body confidence or when we talk about masculine and feminine, like men lead with
Shoulders.
their shoulders and their chest for
Yeah.
good reason, right? That's where their power is. This is it's here. It's and it's also like consciousness, it's heart, it's voice, it's vision, it's yeah, and women hold it in our hips. This is our portal for creation. This is our it's also our pleasure center. And so like one thing that is even more insightful that will help you kind of bring some context to this is like the clitoris, right? The clitoris has over 8,000 nerve endings. This tiny little bundle of nerve endings, which is more nerve endings in the smallest part of the body than in any other part of the human body,
And we
male
love
or female.
clitoris.
Love that clitoris and put it on a shirt. Um, in men or in women, right? The tip of a man's penis is larger and therefore a little bit more dissipated, still pleasurable, but dissipated. And if I can take the word pleasure completely out of it, more sensation. Okay. And
Yeah.
so if we think about what we're always trying to connect back to like how am I feeling?
Mhm.
What is the thing? What's the desire? What's the thought? Where am I going? Who am I? We're always trying to come back to the thing that we can feel most, the sensation that is most present, most prominent.
Yeah.
Okay. And so follow me here.
Yeah.
If the work is about feeling what's in the body and our connection to consciousness and our which
Mhm.
is connection to source energy,
Yeah.
then we're gonna try and connect to the place that we feel the most.
Mm.
Okay. So the clitoris is the place where we can actually feel the most. And so if you don't have permission for the word pussy, for what your labia looks like, for what your right, your genitals look like, feel like, are like, fully owning that, then how
Yeah.
are you going to connect to the most powerful sensory spot in your body?
I love how you got there. I love that. Well, and here's the thing. I I have for a really long time in my life, I would say the first like 25 years of my life, I had claimed fully that I couldn't with a couldn't touch myself and be pleasured. I had that belief system in place. And that changing, of course, just a side note for anybody listening, required a lot of fucking work. Like, don't assume that this piece to the puzzle is just like easy breezy, beautiful cover girl where you're just like, and one day I decided I could do it. Ha ha ha. Like, no, a lot of work, truly dedicated daily choices, understanding, and accountability. So
Yeah.
when I chose to continue that work to be able to find myself being able to even be there with myself and touch my own fucking body in the most sacred of places, I was like, "Oh my gosh." Like, ever since I started this, my life is different. I am more connected to myself. Like, it was like a light switch. I think of it like a fuse box. Like, there was a fuse that had been blown my whole life, and when I fucking touched myself and let myself not feel guilty, I did not criticize. I did not let some patriarchal bullshit try to take over my mind about how I'm not supposed to be in control of my own pussy and touch it. When I saw that, like you were saying, and let it just fucking slide away, and I'm like, son of a bitch, there you are. There's the root of it. That fucking fuse box lit up like the 4th of July. And I was like, now we're
Oh,
back in action, ladies.
oh, now we're talking business, baby. Well,
Yeah.
here's the thing, and I think that this kind of it touches a tender note with women because um it's not the sex we've been told or taught or shown. This is this is something so much more tender
Yeah.
that if we learn to touch our bodies or feel in that area of our bodies, a lot of us are going to have to face grief,
Hmm.
right? Because sexual trauma is a thing. One
Yeah.
in four women and one in six men have been sexually violated,
Mm.
right? And we hold that. We hold that tight in our bodies and our hips and our pussies and our inner thighs and our lower back, in our womb space. Like we hold those memories in our body.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just easier, 9 times out of 10, it's just easier not to feel because if we feel pleasure, then we're gonna have to feel if we feel the up, we're gonna have to feel the depth of the down.
Yep.
That's what feeling is learning to feel the spectrum. So if we can just avoid it altogether, we get to avoid the pleasure, but we really get to avoid the darkness that's there.
Hmm. It's a comfortably numb situation.
100%. So we've just
Mm.
learned to maybe like numb out and like, yes, I came.
Oh my
And
gosh. So many fake orgasms in my past, unfortunately.
oh, baked it for years. Bigger.
Yeah.
And even sometimes like now, oh gosh, faking orgasms is a whole other category.
Yeah. That we'll have to do a whole episode on that alone.
I think so too. Yeah. I don't know if
Yeah.
that's the spot right now, but yeah, and at the end of the day, it's really not about the sex. It's about
Yeah.
what you're trying to avoid.
It is. And it is it is very odd to me now looking back. And I'd love to riff on this for a little bit and then I'll let you go. I just realized what time it was and I kind of forgot we were even recording a podcast, to be honest.
I
I
know.
just
It's like
felt like we
talking
were
to
just
a friend.
chatting.
Yeah.
But, there's times when we are on these journeys and for me personally, I found myself there where I was working through a lot with my body, with my confidence, with my sensuality, the intimacy in my life, and I had these things in their little compartments, which sometimes is helpful. But when you look back on work and just thinking now of the most recent one for me, all of it is so intertwined. And the moment that you begin, like I said in the very beginning, the moment that you begin to speak and use your voice and move your body and give yourself, I guess it comes back down to writing your own permission slip and
Yeah.
believing it.
Yeah.
Once you do that, you can move through any stuckness truly. And it doesn't have to always be in that intimacy area or in that connection to body. But that sent back to that tree, that tends to be the bigger branch, guys. Like that's a big motherfucking branch in the tree of healing. Is
Yeah.
like we said, there's grief and there's acceptance and there's understanding the difference for you personally between body positivity and body neutrality, because I'm here to tell you, I
Oh,
am not rainbows and
oh,
butterflies. I'm gonna tell you, I can't fucking stand the fact that I have a flat spot on my ass from sitting at a desk for years, but I also love my body and I'm also doing the work to get rid of that fucking flat spot, right? I
Yeah.
don't love that I have cellulite all over my thighs and it looks
No.
like cottage cheese in the sun, but you catch me in the shade, those look smooth as fuck. It's in the sun that they get real dimply. And I can say that about myself and still fucking love my thighs though.
Oh
Like
my God. Yeah.
understanding that. So like I just wanted to say that for the listener, like you can fully embrace where you really are and you can even look back at your past and the different healings that you've had and see the connection. And if you can do all that in the present moment, then it's going to create so much trust for where you're going because you're going to be like, look what I
Oh
fucking
yeah.
did already.
Oh, totally. And it's like there is a fear or resistance around writing your own permission slip because if there's no one else there to co-sign on it, then
Yeah.
does it even exist? Does it matter? Do I know how to deal with it? And I think women have been so programmed to need outside validation, to need someone to co-sign on their desire, on their thoughts, on their process, on whatever it is they're going through. And I want to remind like whoever it is that's listening, that's resonating with this conversation also is like, you have to be your own co-signer.
Yes.
It's like, and okay, so get another woman to co-sign on it. But please
Yeah,
don't go and seek out, am I doing it right?
dude, for
Am
real.
I allowed to am I allowed to feel good about my body? Well, okay, yes. And okay, there's a point where we say, I love my body and I feel really fucking fat today because I'm overweight and I've been sitting on my ass and it doesn't feel good.
Right.
It does
Right. Well,
not feel good.
it turns into that spiritual bypassing bullshit or
Totally.
bypassing an avoidance in any way where it's like, oh, only rainbows and butterfly farts. No, bro. Sometimes I wake up and I'm so bloated, I look like I'm 18 months pregnant. And I don't love that moment very much, but I still love my body.
Or if you're obese and you need 2 seats on an airplane, look, people have diseases, they have disabilities, all of them. I'm not saying that. But if you're not doing anything to touch base with that part of you that says, this does not feel good and I want to do something about this, then like you're the co-signer.
Yeah. Yes.
You
And I
can
think
be
that,
you can love yourself and do something about where you are.
yeah. And I love that you touched on getting a woman. And that brings it right back to the sisterhood. Like, and I think we'll end it there then. And I want to remind everybody, Katie, I'm gonna ask you to talk to them about how they can come and work with you before we leave today, because I know that
Yeah.
they want to know. But I want to remind you guys, this is what we do when we work together. So in the 5-week retreat, especially Katie is going to be there in the spring one, we dive into these and we open it up within you. We lift up all the rocks together. Like there is so many opportunities in this mind, body, and soul retreat. It is so fucking juicy. Okay. Like we are going to go through everything that has to do with when it comes to healing your relationship with money. Now, mind you, if you want to go deep, that's when we do the 6-month program together. And that's when it's just you and I. But we go deep in this and we're with sisters in this 5-week retreat. So you are amongst women who are just like you in the sense of they are in it for the development. They are in it for the more. They are in it to become better, bigger, be more, do more, give more. And that's why they're there. So you're surrounded by these women. So especially with healing relationships with money, it never fails. The sisterhood is what always heals it. Because all of us together as women are like talking about these big things. We're having these mindset shifts and these like shifts in our body about money and how we view it. And then we start sharing our stories. And
Mm,
then you realize that we're all fucking the same. And
mm,
then we start sharing our pro tips. And you see these women come together in these retreats for all aspects, but again, specifically money. And by the end of it, women are like, I fucking literally just had so much money come into my life. Now, I'm not going to tell you, I'm not the woman that's going to tell you that there's magic sauce and like money's going to pour into your life. It can, I'm sure. That's not what I'm in the business of. I'm in the business of, I need you to understand that you can fucking do it, but you've probably been putting that resistance on your damn self when it comes to
uh-huh,
money.
uh-huh.
So when this happens, it's like that resistance is lifted
Yeah.
because all these women are together and they're all opening their minds and hearts. And like, I just want you guys to know, if you've never worked with myself or Katie, if you've never worked in a group retreat like this, where there's videos, we meet every week and you get forever access. Of course, you always get an access hub that's full of the bonuses and the guided meditations and all of the goodness. If you've never done it, it's going to change your fucking life. It is the coolest experience to go through transformational like portals, if you will,
Yeah.
with sisters who are all in it together. Like it's like you're all hooked arms, walking on a beach together down to the water, and you're like, we're gonna fucking do it. We're gonna fucking like that's what it feels like. So I just want to invite any of the women who are listening to this. By the time that this airs, it will be like right up to the cusp of this getting ready to start. So if you have not purchased your ticket, whether you want to do limited access, which is $222 for all 5 weeks, all of this for $222, or you could do VIP, which there's only a few of those, and that's $477. And I don't think it'll still be available, but you could do the 2024 Rising Woman bundle, which is $444, and you get a lot of other stuff, which is like the smart thing for me because I love a good fucking bundle deal. I love a good clearance. I love a good sale. Like who the fuck doesn't? If that's your vibe, that might still be available. I'm not sure. Don't know by the time this airs, but I just want to invite you guys in. It is powerful when you make the choice to change. It is powerful when you are in that potent fucking energetic moment of, I'm done with what I did. I'm moving forward. That moment changes everything. I hope you had it today. I hope listening to this podcast, you're like, fucking A, I'm joining that retreat. I'm going to change my life. And Katie, before we head out, will you tell them how to get in touch with you outside of the retreat?
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram or on TikTok at Katie H Coaching or Coach Katie. I is my TikTok handle.
Yeah.
And I have links on both of those sites that lead you straight to having a free exploratory call, which is about 30 minutes, where we just get to see what you're working with, if I'm the right coach for you, talk about pricing, talk about where your challenges are. And look at my different packages. I have 1 month, 2 month, 3 month, and 1 year metamorphosis. I also have a mini package, which is 4 sessions, 30 minutes each, which can be awesome just to kind of dip your toe in. But I offer
Mm.
free exploratories. And for the month of January and February, I'm offering a free session with every package, which is like so amazing. So yeah, it's usually a lot, a la carte, but this is a great deal.
Love that.
Yeah, and then, I have all kinds of fun things on my Instagram, so you can go and play on the link in my bio, and when in doubt, just DM me, and I am happy to get back to you. I'm a real person on the other end. Don't be afraid of me. I'm not weird and salesy. Um, here to connect to see how I can support you.
I love that. I love that. Katie, thank you so much for being here. It is such an honor to have you back and to be able to work with you again. I'm so glad you said yes. It would have been a real weird conversation and podcast episode. I didn't even think about that. I'm like, I kind of put her on a spot, honestly.
You did. I like it, though. I am so honored to be a part of it, and thank you for having me back on.
You're so
And for
welcome.
you.
Your work is so special, so needed, so amazing. So excited to work with you again. You guys go follow Katie. Do it right now. Don't even fucking wait. If you don't do it right now, you probably won't, and then you'll forget. We always do it. Go follow her. And she may be the woman that you've been looking for. I truly hope she is. So, you guys know the drill. That is, at the end of all these episodes, I'm going to ask you to go do something nice for yourself and go do something nice for others. And I want it to be from your heart. Don't do it out of obligation. I have to be grateful, because that's not gratitude. That's not genuine. That's not an integrity. That's not alignment, babes. That's you faking it till you make it. And that shit is self-sabotaging behavior. Don't do that. That is self-abandonment, like we talked about. Don't fake it till you make it. Go out there with full intention to make someone's day. And also do it for yourself. Do something so nice for yourself today that you literally stop in your tracks. You're like, son of a bitch, I haven't done that for myself in a while, and that felt good. All right. So go out there, do it, enjoy yourself, make someone else's day, make your day even better. And we will talk to you soon.